Cancer, the message that I have for your reading is that the crimes they commit in the spirit would get them a life sentence in the real world. Yesterday, they were laughing at what they thought they had gotten away with taking from you, your blessings. But what they failed to realize is that the entire time, you were actually their blessing, and God was watching them, watching how they handled you. And now, as they enter into the next season of their life, when they least expect it, the rug is going to be pulled out from underneath them. They were warned to start moving right. They were warned to stop coming after you, but they didn't listen. They've become so drunk on power that they can't even imagine it all being gone tomorrow until it is. What do we have at the foundation of the reading for Cancer? 7 of Swords in reverse at the foundation of the reading, Cancer. This aligns perfectly with the opening message because the 7 of Swords is an energy of being caught. This is somebody who is now being exposed for all of the things that they have been doing behind your back, like we mentioned in the opening message. The 7 of Swords Aquarius energy at the foundation is exactly what you have always needed to be able to move forward and excel on your path. There's some sort of deep knowing that you've always had about your environment, quite possibly the people in your life. And all of this is now being exposed to you so you can actually move forward in power. It's like the divine wants to clear up any sort of gray areas in your life, Cancer, because I feel you need it right now. You need confirmations that your intuition has been spot on the entire time. And I feel that as we navigate through the rest of the year, you're going to get the confirmations you've always needed, if you haven't already. There's something taking place here in regards to your elevation. Your elevation in and of itself is what is ripping back the curtain. You know, self-empowerment in and of itself is what causes the scales to truly tip in your favor. Because that self-empowerment tells us that you're putting your foot down, you're saying no more. You're not going to live up to other people's expectations of what they think your life should look like. And that is actually an interesting topic, the topic of what other people's expectations are for you. And I feel, Cancer, that this takes us all the way back to childhood for you. Some of you grew up in environments where impossible expectations were placed upon you, and it did something to your psychology. It did something to your development. It's like it created an alternate reality, a reality that you have since broken yourself out of. Now, there's something quite deep here that I'm starting to pick up on, but let's go ahead and keep moving forward so we can get more clarity around what this is. What do we have at the sacral, please, Spirit? Okay. Emperor in reverse at the sacral. Now, I feel that this Emperor right here is putting a bit more weight behind what I mentioned in regards to these impossible expectations being placed upon you in childhood. There's a very dominating energy here, an energy that has tried to really force its will on you for how your life should look, Cancer. And I also feel that a lot of you have dealt with situations in your family, friends groups, just your overall developmental years where the things that you actually wanted to do, you were discouraged from doing. And I feel that people told you that those things you were discouraged from doing weren't for you. You could never do that. You'll never pull that off. But they lied. They always knew you could pull those things off. They just had something to lose should you take that path in life. So here you are, going throughout your life, living under somebody else's expectations of what they think you should be doing. You know, it's like a child who grows up in an environment where they feel like they need to please everybody around them, that they need to make everybody else happy. I just heard child psychologist. Some of you grew up in such toxic environments, psychologically speaking, that you carried this over into your adult life. So you grew up to be a people pleaser, which can very much be something that falls under the Cancerian archetype. It can become something that consumes you. You're starting to see something much differently now, Cancer. And I feel that as you are healing this, right? So you're basically healing healing that inner child. You're embracing those parts of you that nobody else could be there for. You're going back and being there for yourself. You're being your own hero, which is a message that's been coming through in almost all of the readings for the past couple of months because it aligns with the astrology. The collective as a whole is going through a phase of deep shadow work and healing to prepare all of you for the next chapter. As you've been doing this work and you have been interfacing with your life through a much clearer lens, you're starting to see that all of those things that you were discouraged from doing are actually in direct alignment with your life's path. And it's those things that you are beginning to move towards now. For some of you, this has taken several decades to get to this point. It really doesn't even matter how old you are. You know, I hear about people who are quite a bit older just now going through this kind of process. You're meant to wake up to this when you're meant to wake up to it. It's just all a part of the wisdom that you need to gain on your path to be able to do your part in serving the collective however the divine sees fit within the mission statement for your life. But if we were to really simplify this entire reading so far with only 2 cards on the table, it's that you are beginning to see the truth around who you really are and what you are actually truly capable of. Right on the bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Pentacles, 9 of Swords, and that's your energy right there with the Chariot. Okay, so the Page of Pentacles is representing a beginning. And to me, with this message here, it's representing that thing that is in alignment with your path. This is you finally going after it. Like, I knew I could always pull that off, right? 9 of Swords, Gemini energy. Now, this is that energy going back on these individuals. Now, I spoke about how self-empowerment is what actually tips the scales in your favor, right? And it's also what allows these opposing energies to get the karma they deserve for what they've put you through, right? It's just universal law. But universal law requires you to self-empower to be able to serve that to these people. And then the Chariot, which is your energy, this is victory. It's like you finally arrived at something, Cancer. And, you know, what I'm getting here with this 9 of Swords as well, I see this demon as an egregor. An egregor, I feel in this case here, can speak about, well, I've mentioned this in readings before. Say people speak lies on your name. They make up a story around who you are because they're trying to steer the public opinion. This creates a sort of energy, and that energy manifests itself from those lies. And when you go through this process of self-empowerment, that egregor returns on these people. It's like it's their own lies, their own demons that they have injected into the collective. I just heard the collective narrative. Yeah. It's like they're trying to steer the narrative around your life. And now it's being exposed. So this can show up as these people being seen for the liars they really are. And clearly it's showing up in the dream state, right? So it's like these people are up at night. These people are up at night now, rather, being haunted by everything that they have said about you, everything that they have done to make your life more difficult. What do we have at the solar plexus, please? Wow. 8 of Swords, Gemini energy again. Okay, now this 8 of Swords aligns perfectly with the message I just delivered in regards to this energy going back on these people. It's like they did it to themselves, right? They're in this mental imprisonment that is made up of all the lies, all of the things that they have done to make your life more difficult. And that's right there at the solar plexus. Now, the solar plexus is all about self-empowerment and confidence. Remember how I said self-empowerment is how you bring divine justice into your life. So you're self-empowering and it's putting them in a mental prison. This is why it's very important not to get stuck in a victim mindset, right? All the things that they've done to you, right? The woe is me kind of energy, which that's a part of the process, and that's okay to feel that in a moment. But you want to pull yourself out of that as soon as you possibly can, because that's not a good space to be in. And it's essentially where they want you. They want you to be a victim. And because you are a water sign, it's very easy to slip into that space of, they did this to me, they did that to me. And it become very hard to pull yourself out. So catch it, feel it for a moment, let it pass through, and then just move on. Because the sooner you do, the sooner everything's going to balance out. You know, I quite often hear people talking about how they can't take action in their life because such and such did this to them, and they need to wait until so-and-so gets their karma. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, okay? Do not do that, because you are giving your enemy power. It's important to pick yourself up, rise above, and push forward in power. No matter how difficult that is, this is the only way you will get the energies moving. Remember, to reiterate, your enemies want you to be a victim. And the interesting part about this is victimization is shadow Cancer energy. So it aligns perfectly with the attacks that they are using to keep you stuck. They are basically using your own kryptonite against you. So a lot of these attacks that you're enduring, Cancer, are having a direct hit on your emotions. It's calculated. They know exactly what they're doing, and they know how to trigger a response out of you. So the more self-aware you become, the more honest you are with yourself. You know, what I mean by that is knowing what your kryptonite is, right? Don't hide from it. Just own it. Yeah, you know, this is what I can work on, and this is what has a tendency to hold me back when I'm going through difficult times. You don't need to tell other people that, but just become very honest with yourself and embrace those parts of yourself as a means to push forward in power and recognize when the enemy is using tactics to trigger those parts of you. If you feel yourself becoming very emotionally reactive to an enemy's attacks, you know that they are targeting those parts of you. Again, it's a calculated attack. If you can begin to look at the spiritual warfare around your life and the difficulties that are imposed upon you as you are moving down your path from this kind of perspective, it will change your life. What do we have at the heart, please, for Cancer? 7 of Cups. Wow. Again, following what I'm saying, 7 of Cups, Scorpio energy at the heart. Okay. So the 7 of Cups here is really speaking about these tactics. 7 of Cups is an energy of illusions. And there's an emphasis, obviously, on water here, okay? I'm hearing that they are trying to trigger an emotional response out of you so you cannot commit to your higher calling. I just heard it's a campaign to distract you, to keep you blinded from your true power and what you're actually here to do. You know, Cancer, I'm picking up something quite deep here, but I feel for you, this situation, however this is showing up for you, is a kind of psychological maze that these attacks are trying to keep you stuck in. It's like they're trying to imprison you in a kind of haunted house of horrors that is made up of all of the broken pieces of you. It's an energy of, I can't get over it, I can't move on. It's an energy where you surrender your own higher calling to become a victim and a supporting character within their story. See, that's interesting to think about that. They see you as a victim in their story. That right there, that one sentence, that should be enough to snap you out of it. They don't even deserve your time and energy and what it would take to actually address this situation. There is no addressing this. There is no compromise. They're not looking for a compromise. It's not about who's right and wrong, because there's nobody that is right in their world. Everybody is wrong, and they're always right. They live in a distorted reality. What is up for you is down for them. And the sooner you pick yourself up and push forward in power, the sooner you can begin putting this behind you. Don't wait around. And I'm also hearing that some of you out there are waiting for these people to do the right thing or take responsibility for their actions. But that's the thing. They're not going to. They don't have any motivation to. See, remember, your self-empowerment is what triggers divine justice, right? So until you self-empower, they're not in danger of losing anything. Right now, they think they've gotten away with this. That's why you need to flip the script. God is working through you. And this connects perfectly with the opening message. What do we have at the throat, please, for Cancer? Wow. 5 of Wands at the throat. What an energy. Cancer, this is a war. I just heard a war for your mind. 5 of Wands is a tough energy. It represents discord and disagreements. And there it is right at the throat, right in the communication. See, this is one of these situations, Cancer, when you don't need any more evidence. Let's say, hypothetically speaking here, you take the advice, right? As soon as you start making moves, everything is exposed to you within the way they react to you making those moves. You know, they don't come to you and say, Cancer, what's going on here? Let's talk. I think that there's a misunderstanding. Oh no, they come to you with guns ablazing, which exposes everything to you. This is when you see the truth. This is when they reveal to you who they really are. This is when you say to yourself, wow, I knew it. Because instead of trying to do the right thing by you, they try to square off with you. This is why it's important not to get wrapped up in a situation like that with these people. Again, goes back to what I said in regards to not even questioning them, not even bringing anything up, just making moves, whatever that means for you within the framework of this message. Because as we established, they don't care who's right and wrong. Because in their twisted reality, they're always right, even when they know they're wrong, which speaks about how their mind works. They think that they are justified in their actions. I just heard, well, they deserved it. What do we have at the third eye, please? King of Swords, air energy at the third eye. The King of Swords does not need validation from anybody else. This is somebody who's very strategic in the way they move. This is somebody who's very deliberate, very analytical, and whose mind is working like a calculator right now. That's the level of precision that you are being guided to move with right now, Cancer, in regards to however this situation is showing up in your life. You realize that this is a kind of war. It doesn't have to be tanks and soldiers on a battlefield, but make no mistake, it's just as dangerous because the end goal is exactly the same. Surrender or be annihilated. That's how these people are playing. What do we have at the crown, please? Strength in reverse at the crown. Leo energy. Now, the strength card in reverse at the crown is telling me what they're expecting from you. And it's telling me how they see you, Cancer, because it probably tracks with how you've moved in the past. But what I'm about to say should be enough to get the fire inside of you raging to make those changes that you need to make. These people see you as weak. They see you as lacking the self-discipline to self-empower and to love yourself enough to want better. And this is exactly why they're taking advantage of you. You thought you could trust these people, and you certainly didn't think that you needed to look over your shoulder. But now what's being exposed to you, though very disappointing and painful to deal with, is the truth that you have always needed to be able to fully align with who you really are. We live in the midst of a spiritual war at all times. And the sooner you start protecting yourself and accepting these truths when spirit is exposing them to you, the sooner you are going to align with the person that you were always sent here to actually become. But I will tell you this, Cancer, as you get on the path to becoming that person, you're going to start to realize that this campaign that was formed against you was for a reason. A lot of effort has gone into this. It's because of who you are, and it's because of where you're going. What do we have at the foundation, please, Spirit? Too many cards. What do we have at the foundation, please? 2 of Swords, Libra energy at the foundation. See, this 2 of Swords is confirming what we're saying here. This is an energy where you feel so overloaded by this situation that you're not able to make solid, grounded decisions. It's like you're stuck spinning in this cycle, a cycle of victimization, right? Like we mentioned. It's like you're always in the process of preparing to do something, but not actually doing that thing. That's a kind of karmic cycle. I'm hearing something about finding yourself in the exact same position right now in the very moment that you were in last year at the same time. And then the previous year and the year before that, that's a kind of karmic cycle. It's like thinking you're taking some sort of action on something only to find yourself right back where you started. Because there's a common denominator here. I feel for you, it's a multitude of things. It's the environment, it's these people, but it's also the mindset by which you interface with this situation here. See, this goes far beyond just removing yourself from these environments. Of course, that's number one, but this also requires shadow work, right? Healing those parts of yourself. You know, the path to self-empowerment is going to look different for everyone, but a basic example would look something like removing yourself from the toxic environment or cutting off people's access to you so they can no longer influence your life and inject their toxicity into your reality. You take time out for yourself in a peaceful environment. And then you start doing the work on yourself psychologically speaking, right? You start quietly cutting all of those cords to all of these situations. And it usually starts within the framework of connecting to your higher self and source to learn who you really are, right? Without these other people's influence. This is when you go through that season of your life where you realize you are not the expectations these people presented onto you. You are not the kind of person these people painted you out to be, because you start to realize that all of those things were tactics that they used to keep you stuck. So Cancer, this Two of Swords is asking you a question. Are you going to continue to deal with this, or are you going to finally do something about it? And right on the bottom of the deck, we have the Two of Pentacles. Now, this Two of Pentacles speaks about disorder, but I also get the energy of victimization from this Two of Pentacles, right? It's like, oh, look what you did to me. Now I can't do this. Now I can't do that. Exactly where they want you. What do we have at the sacral, please? Three of Swords, Libra energy again at the sacral. This just followed what we said in regards to removing yourself from these spaces, from these environments, because the Three of Swords from this deck speaks about healing and recovery. It's an energy where you enter into a space. I just heard hermit mode, and this really just goes without saying. That's always the obvious direction when you're removing yourself from these environments. I also just heard this is you ending seclusion. Very interesting, because it suggests that when you remove yourself, right, however this looks for you, you return to self. It's like staying inside these situations is you abandoning yourself. You're abandoning that inner child. You're abandoning the person that you always came here to be. You're abandoning yourself and all of the parts that make you, you. What do we have at the solar plexus, please, Spirit? The Magician, Baphomet. Further confirmation. The Magician from this deck speaks about, well, it speaks about manipulation, also speaks about something that is scattering your energy, which we've already determined, but it also tells us that there's something working overtime here to stop you from accessing your gifts and talents. And it makes perfect sense. We've been picking up on this energy. It's like they're trying to keep you from something, keep you from your own truth. It's like they cannot process the idea of what their life would look like if you were able to access a kind of truth, a kind of blessing, a kind of skill, a kind of talent. It would be paradigm shifting. Everything would change. So rather than supporting the process by which you would need to go through to access those parts of you, they try to suppress it. They try to imprison you inside a reality of victimization. They want you in a space where you are pointing your finger at everybody else instead of just taking responsibility for all of it yourself. And this doesn't excuse anything that has happened to you, Cancer. This is not what this is about. This is more about you saying, well, I can't erase what may have happened to me, but I can use those things to self-empower, to protect myself, and to not allow those situations, people, whatever it may be, to drain me any further. There's a power you're going to discover inside of yourself, Cancer, on the other side of this that you may not have fully realized you could access. It almost feels like a dream. The reality where you align with the most powerful parts of yourself has become more of a dream than your actual waking life. I think everybody can relate to this, Cancer or not, right? It's like when we just kind of daydream about the person that we want to be, and we daydream about what we would like our life to look like, and we just become comfortable with just that, right? But it's in this moment, Cancer, that you're beginning to realize those daydreams are actually you on an alternate timeline calling out to you. It's like a distress signal. It's like that alternate version of you is wanting you to align your consciousness awareness of this new self-empowered version of you so you can finally become it and no longer accepting it as just a dream. Right on the bottom of the deck, we have the Tower, Mars, Aries, Scorpio energy. Now, very interesting because the Tower from this deck speaks about an energy where people are trying to stop this from happening, like we established, right? Because they know when this happens, it's all over for them. You self-empowering is a disaster for them. What do we have at the heart, please, Spirit? Queen of Swords, air energy at the heart. Now, this Queen of Swords is the pathological liar in the tarot, okay? This is somebody who's presenting themselves as something they are not. And I feel that this just speaks about the illusion that these people have put up around your life in regards to what they would like other people to think of you, right? The narrative that they're creating around who you are. And people are going to start seeing them as this pathological liar. You know, a basic way this can show up is you just dipping out, Cancer, right? You just disconnect, go your own way, and maybe after a while, people are asking about you. Something's up, right? You know, people who don't know everything you've gone through, you know, maybe friends of your family or friends of friends, you know, people who weren't engaged in this situation, right? People that don't know what's going on. And these people are continuing to lie. But then maybe those other people start kind of digging around and they're seeing something much different. It's like you're beginning to do better. Things look good in your life. You certainly don't seem to be the person that they are making you out to be. Slowly but surely, and this takes time, the illusion begins to crumble. See, the universe works in this genius way where they know all the finer details of how this is all going to break down. So it's a process, right? You're over here self-empowering, and that's creating a reality where these people are being seen for who they really are. You are now writing the story as you go, and that story is based on this new self-empowered version of you. You are now manifesting a whole new timeline that is fueled on you healing yourself. Then we have the World, Fountain of Wisdom. Okay, now the World card here is speaking about completion, integration. It's also speaking about life lessons and or wisdom that you have accumulated up until this point on your path. This is when you start to realize that everything had to unfold exactly the way it did, and that there's a divine plan for your life, and truth is going to show up within your success. Like we mentioned, people see you're doing good. The truth is exposed by success. People start to second guess these people, and this alternate fake reality begins to fall apart. What do we have at the throat, please? And there we go. Perfect. Ace of Pentacles, divine blessings, drives away evil spirits. Like we mentioned at the very beginning of the reading, God was watching them through you. The Ace of Pentacles is an energy of financial prosperity. This is you being positioned to be able to make a real-world impact, armed with the wisdom, experience, and life lessons that you have gone through up until the very moment, Cancer. Everything had to unfold the way it did, like we just mentioned. This is the moment when you say, oh, wow, life's a trip. Look where I'm at now. This is when you pinch yourself in complete disbelief that you have gone through all of that to get to this point. This is when you finally conclude that, yes, it is true. We are in a spiritual war here. And the fact that we can't even really see it makes it that much more sinister. At least if there was a tank rolling down the street, we would have a good idea of what we were dealing with. But no, instead, everything is hidden from us. And the fact that you are actually waking up to this just tells us how powerful you really are, right? You're able to see the truth, even when it is not visible to the naked eye. This Ace of Pentacles stacked with this Five of Wands is also confirming what I said about the reaction from these people, right? Remember how I said it's not like they're coming to you saying, hey, I think there's a misunderstanding. Are you okay? You want to talk about this? That's not how they're coming to you. You see the truth, and they immediately begin to get standoffish. Which arms you with everything you need. You're like, wow. That's exactly what Spirit was showing me. And as hard as it is to accept that, I would be doing myself a great disservice if I didn't. What do we have at the third eye, please, Spirit? Six of Swords, Aquarius energy at the third eye. So here you are now moving forward, Cancer, and this Six of Swords also represents your rite of passage, okay? Everything is beginning to make sense to you. It's like everything just crystallizes. Everything clicks into place right underneath that King of Swords, which would be the energy of clarity. You have all the clarity you need to begin moving forward, and you don't need anybody to sign off on it, which is just another way of not waiting for somebody else's reaction or placing power in another's hands that could see you holding off on taking action. You've been through too much and you know too much now. And you know that nothing is going to ever change unless you make the changes yourself. Now, the Six of Swords is also an energy of travel, moving, relocation. So that could be in the energy for some of you. It could be directly connected to this. And right on the bottom of the deck, we have the Justice card. Amazing. So we've been speaking about divine justice throughout this whole reading, okay? And now here it is. And see how justice is blind? So this could really speak about who you're dealing with, right? Not giving people a pass because they're family or friends or whoever it is, right? And or not allowing people to use that as an excuse. Oh, we're family. Oh, we're friends. I should be allowed to treat you like crap. It's just how it goes. What do we have at the crown to close this out for Cancer, please? Man, what an ending. The Chariot. Cancer, that is your energy right there. Look what it says. Perseverance, success in conflict, overcoming adversity. And here you are stepping over that beast. Literally showing up with this Archangel Michael around you. I feel that that is representing the divine, fighting your battles for you behind the scenes, which is all based on your self-empowerment inside your everyday waking life, right? See, that's how this works. You self-empower. You push forward on your path. You align with your mission and you get moving. And when you do that, the divine is fighting your battles for you behind the scenes, essentially clearing the runway for takeoff. And that's exactly what this Chariot card is representing. And it's right underneath the Strength card in reverse, right? Which was that energy of them thinking that you would never actually do this. But Cancer, based on this reading, they've got another thing coming. So with that, we will leave it here. All right, Cancer, this is what I have for all of you. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. And there's a glitch in the YouTube app right now. So if you're trying to press like on the video and it's not allowing you to like the video, do me a favor and just drop a heart or a comment and that will work just the same, okay? But whatever the case, I would like to extend my gratitude for all of your donations and support on my channel, your personal reading bookings, the purchases that you have all made at my online store, and also thank you to everybody who's joined the membership side of my channel. But in closing, I would like to know how this reading resonated with you. So let me know in the comment section down below, again, by dropping a heart and or a comment, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Take care.